Hi, I'm Marcel, and welcome to me screaming into the void, mostly about books. Before I did this channel, I was a blogger, and one of the first books that I blogged on after Love, Slaves, Lost, which I already made a video of, and North and South, which I've also already made a video about, is Carlo Collodi's Pinocchio. And I have to admit that in the entire review of this book was very much a defense against others' review of this book. And I did also talk a lot about the Disney film, which I think was part of the problem. So when I first read this, and I loved this book, and I tried to then read others' review of this book to find other people who loved this book just as much as I did, and I couldn't really find anyone. A lot of people were talking about this book as it was quite dark and depressing and grotesque, and I was thinking, you have clearly not understood the book, which is a very arrogant thing to think. I apologize. But I still stand partly behind it because, yes, it's dark humor. It is dark, but to highlight the points it wants to do. It's not dark to be dark. It's a darkly humorous book. And I think still that part of the reason why when people go to this book to read Pinocchio, they might read it more harshly than it deserves because of Disney's Pinocchio. Now, the plots are very much the same. Puppet is given life, goes around, does bad things, is turned into a donkey, is swallowed by a whale, and then finally turned into a real boy. But the stories are very different. Pinocchio, Disney, is quite a naive character who goes out, gets into a bad crowd, and simply has to apologize or make amends to Geppetto, his father, for doing something bad. But Pinocchio in Carlo Collodi's book is headstrong, and he's quick to temper, and he's a child. And I think that's sort of the main things, and probably the main differences, is that while Disney's Pinocchio is a form of hero story about making amends because you were stupid enough to believe something you shouldn't have done, what this book is about a child trying to figure out what does it mean to be a man. He has to learn to not go by his temper if he gets angry, to not be violent, to not trust everyone, to realize that some things will make you uncomfortable. In the book, his nose grows when he lies, as in the Disney film, but it also grows when he is hungry, when he is upset. The nose grows because it's uncomfortable. And that's the point. Lying is uncomfortable. That's the lesson you're supposed to learn from it, or one of the lessons you could learn from it. He kills the cricket because he's a child. He doesn't understand anything yet. That's the point. Now, for those who do not know, there is a genre of books that are called Bildung novels. And Bildung novels are very much about growing into adulthood. So very often from a child or a young teenager and becoming an adult and learning to become an adult. And this was written before Bildung's novels were a thing, but this is a Bildung novel, or at least a proto-Bildung novel, because it's trying to talk about how difficult it is to live in a world where you have no idea what is going on. And the dark humor that he uses is reflecting that our world is kind of dark by highlighting then the dark humor of it. And I'm going to read, I'm just going to read an excerpt of it. So this excerpt is from chapter 22, and it's between a farmer and talking polecats, because animals talk in this world. It's part of the absolutely magical world that this book is set in. And the farmer states, after the polecats has killed some of his animals, "At last you have fallen into my hands. I could punish you, but I'm not so cruel. It is enough for me if I take you to the innkeeper in a village, who will skin you and cook you in a sweet, savory sauce and serve you for hares. It is an honor you do not deserve, but generous people like me are ready to do a good service." That's dark. But that's the point. The dark humor is supposed to highlight how difficult this world can be to navigate in when people aren't actually honest about what is going on. What is kindness? What we say we want to do versus what we then end up doing, and how we rationalize all of those things. And I have to admit, I haven't seen, in my North and South with Elizabeth Gaskell, I talk a little bit about how Elizabeth Gaskell has become much more known now than she was when I first blogged about her. But Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi, I haven't really seen anyone else talking about it. But if you're someone who enjoys a bit of dark humor, maybe you can find a different take on a familiar tale. So let me know if you've read Pinocchio, or if you know about other stories that uses the sort of the dark humor in a very good way to tell a story. Because I realized I actually enjoy dark comedy. Yeah. And thank you for listening to me screaming into the void.